Thank you, Sebastian. Good morning, friends. Welcome. Hello. Yes. Busy couple of weeks. Busy couple of weeks. Yep, Mossy and I have been out there looking for a house out in the world. And we were accepted the other day on a house. So it's been a hectic couple of weeks. We're still a few things to tick and get over the line. But it's looking positive at this stage. So, in probably about 3 weeks' time, we will be switching off and returning from a brand new venue with hopefully brand new games room. What are you dancing for, Moss?
New house.
Moss Boss Studios on the way. Do you want to tell everyone about how you feel about it, Mossy?
I'm very excited.
Alright. Good for you.
I'm gonna have some chickens.
She's gonna have chickens. This is the only reason we're moving, so she can have a chicken.
4 chickens.
Am I looking like Link, or is this looking like Link? I'm probably looking a little bit like Link as well, actually.
Is that Chris Hemsworth?
Me?
Link.
No, Link's from Legend of Zelda. Yeah, so I'm sort of obviously back into a bit of a painting swing with this little piece. It's yeah, rapidly taken shape over what, 2 weeks, 1 week. When did I assemble this? Did I feel like I'm not sure, but it's rapidly taken shape. Yeah, it's going okay. It's going okay. Yeah, there's little parts of it that I like. You know, the barbarian's good, the wizard's good. The dwarf, I'm actually really pleased with how the dwarf's come out so far. The elf's been a bit of a challenge. Haven't felt like I've gotten his skin tone quite right yet, so we'll do some very subtle airbrushing, I think, to try and tone that down a bit, maybe. I think it might just be the hair. I haven't quite landed the hair. Not sure. But Little Hobbit's sort of what I'm working on at the moment. So, what song would you like me to sing in Santia? It's been a while. It's very early. What would you like me to sing? And if you say The Hills of Tanchico from Wheel of Time, I'll gladly do so. Because it's been stuck in my head for a long time since I watched the episode. If anyone's not watching Wheel of Time, the series, I think so. I'm a book fan from a long time ago, right? Many years. I started the first book when I was in grade 3, so that is 30 plus years ago. And at that time, I think the 5th book had just been released. So I read all the way up to the 5th book, and at that time, the 6th book got released. So that 6th book's called Lord of Chaos. And that was when I read the series up to that point. And ever since that experience, I reread the series. Okay. I reread the series every time a new book was released. And that continued from books 7 through to book 14 when it was finally released in 2008. I'm not a person who was disappointed by anything. I'm generally Darren, my friend Darren says I'm too enthusiastic about everything. I really enjoyed the fact that we got a finish to the series, and even if it wasn't the same author and didn't feel quite the same, the fact that we got something is better than getting nothing. So I was pleased to have read it. I've read it a couple of times since. However, I will acknowledge that I haven't found those last books, those last three by Brandon Sanderson, quite as rereadable as his other books in the series. I've reread them. It'd be over 10, 15 times. But I have only reread those last ones twice now, I think. I am definitely keen to get into the diorama. With the house move that's about to come, that might not happen straight away, but I've got all of them out, ready to go. So, yeah, we actually made some good headway in the church scene. Anyway, how's that Aretha Franklin go song? R-E-S-P-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-C-T, something, babe. Wow! Something like that. Is that how it goes? Is that the right song? R-E-S-P-C-T. Wow! Yes, it does have a painting room. I'm very fortunate that I have the luxury of having a full painting and gaming room, the dungeon, that we'll be getting very, very, very much of my time and attention, and Mossy is not happy about it. But yeah, no, we'll have a full painting setup that's going to be as good as this, but probably better. Hey Dom, it is early, yes. What is it, 7? Yeah, 7. Not that early. Yeah, so full painting setup, and then a full gaming setup, and my plan is for that to be very much like a deluxeified version of what I have right now for those two things. I'm going to have a full proper backdrop with, lights. You know how the proper YouTubers do. I'm not a proper YouTuber, but I want to have a nice setup. Since I spend so much of my time doing this and playing games and recording it, and so I want to try and deluxeify. Someone said something before about the wizard hat texture. Yes, thank you. I was kind of going for some sort of bubbly, unusual texture. So the whole thing's. I'm just trying to get a work in progress vibe happening on all of them. The Barbarian's probably a little more concluded, but the rest of them, just going for very much a work in progress color concept and stuff. And I'm obviously working with greens and blues for most of them, and just trying to work within those colors, and then we'll keep tweaking it. Yeah, the leather bits, yeah, I'm going to do that on more of them. I like just adding a little touch of green into some browns. I feel like it adds a really nice little thing. Visual interest. So yeah, I'm going to add a tiny little bit of that to some of the leathers. I've basically just been going, I'm just going to paint some cool shit, and just kept painting cool shit until I was at this point. Yeah, it probably is. I just like how it looks. You know, I think it just looks a little interesting. G'day, Furrow Roach. I'm well, thank you, mate. Yeah, it's obviously been nice to come back and painting some display figures, some penas. I feel like I could go away from display painting for years and come back, pick up a pena, and everything would be okay because they're just delightful to paint, delightful little textures, delightful shapes. Um, yeah, I can't say I've got any problems with painting a Lucas Pena sculpt. Yeah. So it's been obviously a pretty full on couple of weeks, what with the house and everything else. But the other thing that's been happening is I've been Wheel of Time and Daredevil Born Again. I'm up to date on both of them, and like Wednesday nights I'm frothing to watch Daredevil, and Thursday nights I'm frothing to watch Wheel of Time, and it is awesome. I haven't been this excited about watching some TV in a long time. Um, Man, Daredevil has been epic, epically good, and yeah, Wheel of Time. So I think I was talking about Wheel of Time before. I was talking about how I read the books, and the thing about the show is it's absolutely never going to be the books. It's never going to be the books. And the amount of sad people out in the world that are blowing up that it's not the books, it's like, fuck, mate. If you've read the books, you know why it's not possible. It's like 8 bajillion fucking pages. It's so much. There's no TV show that is ever going to be able to deliver on that. It has to be an interpretation. It has to be. It can't be the same. And as soon as you realise that, you're like, okay, well, this is the interpretation that we've got. There's things about it that I don't necessarily agree with in terms of like character arcs, but it's better than not getting a Wheel of Time interpretation. It's better than not getting to experience the book series that shaped my love of fantasy and pretty much set me on the path that I'm on in my life now. It's better to get something than nothing, you know? Got a Dragon Reborn tattoo on my chest. There you go. Get that up here. So anyway, what I will say is for people that haven't watched the show, or sorry, that haven't read the books but are watching the show, mostly directed at you, Sebastian, is that this season has felt the most like the books. It's the first two, you know, it kind of was a different. It felt a little bit different tonally. You know, it felt like there was a lot of aspects of it that were, you know, interpretations. Whereas this season, it's sort of come back a lot into what the book series is like. And it's incredible. Some of the best scenes from this season have literally just been straight out of the books. I think it was the symbol of the Aes Sedai. I think it was the teardrop. So the symbol of yin yang, the white and the black. The black's called the dragon's fang, and it's a claw. And it represents the male half of the source, which is called saidin. And then the white teardrop, which is the upside down white one, represents the female half of the source, saidar. And that is the strongest female sa'angreal, which gives it the wielder the ability to pull more of the one power than they would normally be able to. Dumais Wells! I am the Lord of the Morning. They'll pay. Can't wait. Hello, Valhalla Painting. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Just mucking around with some little Hobbit friends at the moment. I did end up scrolling through that Instagram. It was unreal. Welcome, friends. If you're not frequents here, this is what I do. I do this. I do these little things. We're just talking about wheel time as well. So if you're not familiar with the wheel time, you may not get a lot of value out of this conversation. But the stuff that the best scenes, in my opinion, in this season have been directly from the books. So I'll call out two specific scenes from the last episode, but I won't spoil what they were. The very last scene with the dragon is directly out of the books. Here's another one. Have a look at this one. That's got some music for you. Wheel of Time, mate. It's going to be great. Ready to finish up. Yes, so anyway, the ending scene. The ending scene was straight out of the books in a slightly different timeline, but it actually happens exactly like that in the books. And then the second one, which is directly out of the books, is when in Tanchico, when a certain Forsaken comes to visit two of our friends, also directly out of the book. And those two scenes, to me, were electric. I could not stop watching them. And they're directly out of the books. It was the best episode for me. Ruidian was a very strong episode, but to me that was the best episode because it just felt like Wheel of Time. And as I said, it hasn't necessarily felt that way every time, but it absolutely stuck the landing in that episode. So yeah, go team. Yeah, it's been an amazing season, and what I'm starting to get really concerned about now is that they haven't announced this season 4. So I've got a feeling that this is it. This is all we're going to get, and that is mucho depresso, because this season has been kind of a glimmer of what the show could have been, or maybe not what the show could have been, what the show has been building to. When did I start this, Sean? 2 weeks ago? A week ago? The first day I started painting, I posted this guy on Instagram. So if you check that, that's the day I started it. I don't know what day that was. Yeah, someone said Brandon Sanderson's work before. I absolutely love Mistborn. Mistborn is incredible, and I think he did a fine job with the Wheel of Time books. I think it would have been next to impossible for anyone to come in and deliver on what Robert Jordan did. And I've read a lot of interviews with him about, you know, what he felt as he was writing it and stuff, and he didn't want it to be a parody. He didn't want it to be a parody of Jordan. He wanted it to be his interpretation of Robert Jordan. So it's not ever going to sound just like him. But yeah, when I look back on that series, that time, it was just a sense of gratitude that I'd get to finish the story. You know, the people that I'd spent my entire life growing up with, imagining and talking to, and you know, we were all, most of the people that are on this chat were the nerds, the uber nerds. You know, the Wheel of Time was something that I always had. Nobody could take that away from me when I was at school and not having a good time. Always had the Wheel of Time. So a sense of gratitude to be able to finish something that I'd been so close to for such a long time. That's all I felt. I was actually thinking the other day. I've listened to the audiobooks as well, so there you go. I've read the book series probably 10 times, and I've listened to the audiobooks in entirety. I do actually get it. Like I've been thinking about this a lot. because when something means so much to you, and you have such high expectations because it means so much to you, it's never ever ever going to be what you'd hoped. Like it was never ever going to match the expectations of those people. And I was trying to figure out why I don't feel the same way. Because it doesn't matter where I go. I've been watching like reactions of the episodes and stuff from a couple of my favourites, and everywhere you go, the tide's turning. Like there's a lot more people that are excited about this show, this season than others. But there's about 15, 20% of comments on any one of those is like, this show is a fucking disgrace. It ruins Robert Jordan's legacy. People involved with this show should be ashamed of themselves. Just this sort of rubbish. And that, to me, is understandable, but disappointing. Painting a piece with this many individual characters, it really is a challenge. It's a challenge to know where to focus the scene. It's a challenge to know yeah, get them on board, mate. Get them on board. Oh, get on board. Get on board. Yeah, it's a challenge to try and know how to best draw people's attention into the piece. But we're trying our best. I think some airbrushing is going to help smooth everything out. Definitely people will be disappointed. The most passionate ones. It's just getting really good, that's all. It's getting really good, so I think those people are missing an opportunity now. Because it's actually getting really good. Like if you were to give a book reader that's read the books and said, cool, I want you to watch this episode of The Wheel of Time without any context of what's happened before, and you just gave them the last couple of episodes, most of them be like, wow, that's awesome. Who's his favourite character? Is it Perrin? I think that would be Perrin based on. I actually wonder sometimes. I just love rewatching and rereading things that I've watched before. I just love the familiarity and the sense of comfort it brings me to know this is what's coming up, and it's wonderful. Like there's some moments in Wheel of Time that I read. Every time I read it, I look forward to. I know this is coming up. I can't wait to get to this moment again. I wonder if I'm missing out on opportunities to experience new stuff because I just default to going to those things that I've experienced before. So yeah, props to you, mate, for just watching something once. That's an impressive approach. Hey, hey, goodbye. Good morning, Oms Sadre. The Wheel of Time would be one of the richest series to read on a rewatch, on a reread. It has so many layers of stuff that you really get to experience and enjoy on rewatches. I was contemplating listening to the audiobooks again because I'm doing a lot of driving at the moment, so loading the audiobooks up and going again. That's a big one. There's I've done a couple of audiobooks. I've done Harry Potter. I've done the Wheel of Time. I've done the Dresden Files, and I feel like I've done one more. But anyway, I smashed through a Dresden Files book. They take between 12 and sort of 20 hours, the audiobooks. So I smashed through one of those in like a week. So I listened to the whole Dresden Files series in about, I don't know, 3 months. Something like that. Wheel of Time took me a year and a half. The audiobooks go for like 50 hours. So yeah, it's chalk and cheese, really, to any other series out there. Well, it's turned into a real Wheel of Time extravaganza today, hasn't it? That's alright. I like Wheel of Time. Yes, Daredevil also gets a run. I'm yeah, I'm loving Daredevil Born Again. This is probably the best Marvel thing to come out in a long time. Mossy's watching White Lotus. Not for me, but people have said it's good. Those people being Mossy. Joe Abercrombie. Yeah, he's one that I downloaded his books to my Kindle and I've never got around to. Him and Glenn Cook were highly recommended. So I downloaded all their books and then I just never got around to reading them. But yeah, I've heard he's very good. Very, very good. A Terabon boy with coin aplenty. Where one's not enough and three's too many. And two brings a man to his knees. Hey, the hills of Tenchico. The hills of Tenchico. Hey, the hills of Tenchico. Hills of Tenchico. Very good. I liked it a lot. What do we want to do to that green? Do we want to pump that up with some Sati? Give it some saturation? Let's do it, Dano. Let's get some yellow in there, though. Let's give it some intensity. Yeah, we can have a chat about some pieces, mate. We can have a chat. Alright, I'm excited. Let's finish this and let it have a dry. The hills of Tenchico. The hills of Tenchico. Hey. 1 to 12, tiny. Tiny. like the scale mail. That feels absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Here, I'll bring the chat box in front. Like it looks like true metallic metal in this photo, which is how you know you've nailed it. I like the textural contrast between the scale mail, the skin, and the bone elements. I think that's great. I really am feeling the lighting consistency as well. You know, you've got the light reflections for the purple and the red and the face and the scale mail, all aligned really spot on. And there's a nice environmental element as well with the cold blue light on the right. Where I think the piece is lacking this element is not as strong as the other bits. The steel in this doesn't quite work, just looks like grey. I think you probably could have incorporated some of the blue environmental light into that steel up the top there, maybe. That might have worked. Maybe a little more over here in the bottom bit down the right. But yeah, the gold is the main thing dragging this down. So silver's kind of easy, right? It's black and grey and white, and that's it. Gold, you kind of have to incorporate some weird oranges in there, and you have to have those really dark browns as well. And so it feels a little bit mid-tony for the gold, just a little bit too much mid-tone. Not enough dark or highlights for it to read as gold. The red is probably, I mean, this is more of a subjective thing, but I think the red's not the right colour here. You know, red's a very intense colour, and it tends to grab our gaze a lot. And I think the red is detracting a little bit from everything else. I think if I would have gone for a cold blue, because I think that would have really had it would have made the gold pop. It would have made the skin tone sort of stay the strong focal point. Because at the moment, if I just let my eyes go slightly blurry, you know, the red is what jumps out at me because it's so saturated and intense. It's good work on the red, but hey, Frog Jim. But yeah, I feel like that's maybe just the wrong colour choice for the rest of the piece. So yeah, cold blue, I think that would have been a much more striking result. And then the final piece is the hair. You know, that hair is very minor elements. You know, he's just got the strands, but you feel the hair not working compared to the rest of it, which to me is at a very high level. And then you've got this hair which still feels quite flat and kind of uninteresting. So again, yeah, the brown hair probably just you're losing it a little bit in the thing. So yeah, I might have gone black hair as well. But it's a great piece, mate, and you know you go from strength to strength, and you know just another wonderful example of the value of just fucking doing it. You know, just painting a lot. It has an impact, believe it or not. Just painting doesn't have an impact for someone like me who doesn't need to paint and is still just a fucking animal. But no, I do need to paint. This is bad. All right. You are welcome. Shawnee's got one as well. Come back to that in a second. The hills of Tanchico. The hills of Tanchico, hey. Ah, yes. I love this model. I've painted this model myself. I did an orange fire wizard. Did him in a few days. That is easily the best face I've seen come out of your painting desk, my friend. Easily the best. Like, so far ahead of anything else I've ever seen you paint. That is an exceptional face. If the rest of this piece is at that level, you should be entering in Masters at Guildin. That is all I will say, because that is exceptional. Definitely time to move on to the rest and make it at that level. Good luck. Good luck. Okay. What to do, what to do. Man. It's a good face. I remember when I could paint that well. It's been a long time. Thanks, Oms Sadre. I assume that's directed at me as well, but if it's not, I agree. Some great paint jobs from those two chaps that we just looked at. Haha. G'day, Cancel. Thanks for the subscription. That's very appreciated. Not necessary, but thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you've enjoyed the Kingdom of Death stuff. I've obviously done a metric shit ton of Kingdom of Death content that very few people will ever probably watch. Yeah, I think I'm at 7 full campaigns on the on the YouTubes now of Kingdom of Death, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to coming back to it in a not too distant future. think the next Kingdom Death content is coming out in probably, I think it's about 3 months, July or thereabouts. Oblivion Mosquito got painted. She's almost painted, I should say. She's basically finished. Here she is. I have to finish her off soon. Haven't got much to go, but got excited about painting these. Yeah. So, but I'm glad you've enjoyed the Kingdom Death. Elder Scrolls is great. It's not at Kingdom Death level. I don't think there's many things that will compare to Kingdom Death for me, because it manages to combine my love of board games and strategy games with my love of painting and the miniature hobby. So it kind of feels like a game that's been made just for me. So I love it. Elder Scrolls is great. It's strategic. It's got a lot of great moments. It doesn't have the depth and staying power for me that Kingdom Death does. And that's okay. There's not really any game that's come close to that at this point in time. That's okay. Yeah, it's just the chalk and cheese, really. You know, Kingdom Death is this sprawling, gargantuan experience that I've played a campaign with 2 players. I've played, a good chunk of a campaign with 4 players, and I've played well over 15 campaigns now by myself. So Frog Gym, it is a real challenge, this bust. I won't lie to you. I have struggled with this, and I think so. This is the view that we've got. It doesn't feel like it works to me right now. So what I'm kind of doing is just painting everything, and then when I get to the point where everything's sort of more finished, I'll assess how I bring them together a bit more. The dwarf, it's just a weird thing, but I had observed that all over paint is Caucasian, because that's what I am, and I wanted to paint some non-Caucasian skin tones, and it's very hard to do. It's very hard, and I think I've gone okay with that, but it does draw a little bit of focus away, and it does feel a little unbalanced. I think I'm okay with it. I think this side here is quite strong. I think this side is quite weak. Yeah, it is tough. It is tough, non-Caucasian skin tones. Yeah, I might just do a little airbrushing now, actually. Nice. I kind of want to do some. I want to do some leopard skin on this, so it looks like all cheetah colours. I want to do some triangle patterns there, and I want to do some leafy patterns here, which is started. Everything on this elf. I think I just need to tone this. I need to tone this side down a little, so I might just come in with some cold blues here and some Pterodon turquoise on this side, and just see if that tweaks things down. That's the challenge I've found with the skin tone. It's like, it's really hard to get high enough value and then it starts to feel non-Caucasian. It's a challenge. It's a good one. I said to myself, I don't do enough of that. I should really do some of that. So that's what I've done. We fallen at the ren, the blood of Amen. Yep. A lot of challenges with it. No, I try not to do reference pictures these days, which is an arrogance thing, but I probably should. Hey, Alexi. No, I think I'm at a point now where in my head, I sort of know this is what I want it to look like, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. Probably say more often than not, it comes out how I imagine it in my head. Look, where's me favourite colour? Yes. Suckers. Sure, cancel. Yeah, I started painting quite a long time ago. I started painting when I was in grade 3 in school, which is sort of I can't even work out. How old are you in grade 3? 9, 10? So I'm 42 now. So what's that? 30 odd years. I've painted a lot of toys. In my time. The favourite piece most of the stuff I've done has been like up until probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. I was mostly just a board game painter. I used to just paint board game stuff and war games because I was quite into Warhammer and War Machine. Yeah, I decided to get into display painting, and so yeah, when I started getting into display painting quite heavily, I went pretty full on, and so I've done quite a lot of stuff that I'm really quite proud of. My favourite piece that I've painted would probably be this. I'm sorry everyone's already seen this in this episode, but here you go. This is something I did 2021. There you go. Is it 21 there? Yep, 21. So it's a elaborate diorama, and it kind of started my love of big projects. But there's a website called Putty and Paint. I haven't really posted to it much recently, but when I was right into getting heavily into display stuff, I think I'm still in the top 20, aren't I? Top 20, top 30. Let's see. Where have I dropped down the ranks now? 27th. What a disgrace. There you go. Yeah. I've done yeah, I've done a lot of toy soldier painting. Is basically the answer. But Camelot's probably my favourite. But yeah, if you want to see a little history book of my display painting works, that page is my works. But yeah, I've been playing competitive miniature games since that time, and I was actually pretty good at competitive miniature games. I was in the Australian War Machine team. I was the captain. I played in the Warhammer European Team Championship in a team that came fourth. I played Guild Ball at the World Team Championships, or the World Championships at Guild Ball. I won tickets to travel all over the world for Toy Soldiers, so I did okay at that. And then I just sort of gave it all away and started playing board games. My favourite single figure is not the Crusader. Sebastian's been an absolute fuckwit. What would be my favourite one? The Aussie team did never recover. What would be my favourite piece that I've painted that is just a single figure? That's a hard call. That is a hard call. I'm looking through them. Yeah, the one that maybe lands the most for me is this one, I think. Yeah, it's a pretty good singer. Got lots of talents. Triple threat. Yeah, I'm not sure what my favourite one, but I think that one would be close. That was one that back in the day, when I was getting into display painting, I was attending an event called Crystal Dragon, and that was my first Crystal Dragon. Thanks, Globcats. And at the time, I was like, I just like painting, and I wasn't really feeling like I was at a level capable of competing. And I sort of found out afterwards, after the event, that piece was in contention for best in show at Crystal Dragon, which would have been pretty cool to win that, as you would know, Alexi. But it didn't win, which is fine. That's okay. So that one kind of really solidified. Oh, you know what? I actually really like this painting malarkey. Maybe I'll give it a crack. Yeah, well, if you go back and look through the that putty and paint profile, um, either I've gotten a lot worse, or my priorities have changed, and I'm gonna be kind to myself and say that it's the second one, because I don't paint like I used to. Maybe. It's probably more that, you know, my style has just evolved. You know, down a specific path. There was a period when I was very much trying to, you know, get good, as it were, and having having these aspirations of trying to paint like my heroes over in Europe and whatever. It certainly shaped the way I painted for a long time. And in the last few years, I've moved away from trying to paint like someone else and just doing stuff that I really enjoy. And so my style's kind of got worse. It's not really worse. It's just like I can still paint like that if I wanted to. I just don't. Like I just really like having texture and shape and you know, and roughness. You know, I really just like all those things. So yeah, picking goals is a good way of describing it. I think the artists who really stand out to me now, in my time now, are the ones who are just doing stuff their way and feel good about doing stuff their way. You know, like the Kahas, the Zabas. Um, there's lots of people that do stuff in a cool and unique way. You know, and Kirill's another one that does things in a unique way that people have tried to imitate. Um, Land in many ways, like Land does. Um, Land's kind of, I think Land kind of started this different style that is very technical and very much. Sterile's not the right word, but you know what I mean, right? So. And I've just found myself gravitating more towards brushstrokes, texture, saturation, you know, like really wild things. Just really like having paint jobs feel out there. Because I don't think there's a right or a wrong with miniature painting. I think it's important that we find our own way. I loved it. I love when style gets celebrated over technique. Alright, I want to dull that hair down a little bit. Last thing I'll say on the topic, I just sometimes think we get too excited, we get too focused on stuff being good, and we forget that stuff's supposed to be cool, or you know that it's about the journey, not the fucking end result. Blah blah blah. You know, for me anyway, and it's okay that other people have different end results and different end goals that they're trying to achieve. I am very much about let's have an amazing time painting a cool model, and that's it. Yes, I am indeed very quick. It is about the vibe, mate. It is. That is correct. I am indeed blending with the airbrush, my friend. What it does is it makes all of my bad blending look like I can actually paint. However, if I've done it right, we don't lose all the texture, we just soften it. This is what I like to call the Big Dano patented method for making people think he's a good painter. And now we're going to do something which I stopped doing for quite a while, but now that I've been painting these individually, I'm going to do some matte varnish because I've got a lot of shiny elements. So yeah, I'm just gonna hit everything with a matte varnish, and we'll see if it changes how I feel about anything. No, I agree with the rule of cool being the only thing that really matters. Alright. Yes, yes. I feel a little bit better about the elf now. I might do his eyes, maybe that'll help, but I think changing that hair from the really yellowy colours made a difference. My little hobbit mate. I wanted him to look like fucking Rorschach from The Watchmen, you little Rorschach motherfucker. I want him to have super textured skin. The old guy's skin's pretty cool. How much closer can we go, Dano? Oof. Yeah, that's pretty good. I just need to make his eyebrows bushy white as well. He's pretty good. Me little Rorschach motherfucker. He's pretty good. Do need to figure out his hands a bit more and do his cloak. He's got difficult eyes to paint. He's got very squinty eye on his left there. His eyes, yeah. How good is that? Me little fucking owl dickhead, mate. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm gonna paint his eyes, I think. You're a Rorschach motherfucker and nobody likes you. What? Sure. Yeah, his eyes are actually minute, the dwarf, so it was very difficult to paint. Some side-eyed shit. Look at this going on. Ooh, this is a tough one. Hey, let me give you a little tip that fucking helped me immeasurably with painting eyes. And it sounds like such an obvious thing when you hear it, but if you haven't heard it, it might be something that doesn't that you had never thought about before, right? But when you are painting eyes, if you remember the the logical thing to try and do when you're painting eyes is to have the eyeballs be both in the same spot, right? That's the most logical thing to do. However, and this is the thing that the revelation that I had, if we think about where an object is that we're looking at, right? So if we have an object that's right in the middle of a person's face that they're looking at, both of those eyeballs are going to tilt slightly in that direction to look towards it. If you have something that a person is looking at here, this eyeball will be directly in line with it, but this eyeball will be ever so slightly tilted that way. So you don't actually want your eyes to be in the same spot. You want one to be slightly further than the other in whatever direction you're looking. It's such a wild thing to have not ever thought about when I first thought about it. And if you can actually paint at this scale and have your eyes matter, you're impressive. I used to be able to. I don't think I can anymore. But yeah, you want to have them be very so slightly off center, not in exactly the same spot. And thus ends Dano's eyeball lesson for today. We went and got eye tests this week. She was very disappointed to learn that I have exceptional eyesight. You fucking annoyed the shit out of her. Okay, we're getting there. Let's zoom out a bit now. Okay, so I wanted to do some patterns on the clothes. So I think I'll just go for a triangle pattern on this guy because that's easy. You're a short motherfucker and nobody likes you. Short. just make that one an outline. I mean, his body's just lying there, right? Loot that body! Loot that body! I play my flute when I loot that dead kid's body. You're a sharp motherfucker and nobody likes you. A Terrabon boy with coin aplenty, where one's not enough and three's too many, and two brings a man to his knees. Hey, the hills of Tenchico, the hills of Tenchico, hey, the hills of Tenchico. The hills of Tenchico, hey! What a banger! What did you say, Mossy?
You're a banger.
Come out here and say that. People need to know that you think I'm good. The last episode, I feel like was the best episode of the show. It felt like the most Wheel of Time episode of any episode. It landed on so many beats. It was my favourite. It was better than Ruidian. It was just an absolute top tier banger. Road to the Spear was very good. Yeah, Road to the Spear was very good. And before the Hills of Tenchico, I think it was the best episode, the Road to the Spear. But I believe that has now been dethroned. The end of the episode was I had literal chills because I feel like the actor who is playing Rand is absolutely getting to show his versatility in this season, and he is doing a glorious, glorious job. Okay, let's go. They've really started to feel like Wheel of Time. That's the thing that's been not so much missing, but just they've really felt like the Wheel of Time, and that's been the best thing about this last season. And I just have this feeling that this is the last season, so I'm going to enjoy it. And I hope to be wrong. I'm not usually wrong, though. Yeah, it's just finally started to find its rhythm. It's like Cool Runnings. Feel the rhythm. Feel the ride. Come on, Jamaica. It's Wheel of Time time. Cool Runnings. Yes, I will. I was actually thinking I might start the audiobooks again. Rosamund Pike's doing a read through of the audiobooks at the moment. If you read the books, Sebastian, I'd be really interested to talk to you about your feelings, but it wouldn't surprise me if you suddenly became one of those people who's like, this show fucking sucks. Because the books just have so much depth, so much to them. Like they're crazy how much they include. But no, I listened to the Michael Kramer and whatever that other chick's name read through. Long time ago. Yeah, Kate Redding, that's her. I haven't listened to Rosamund Pike. I've listened to an excerpt from one of hers, and I thought, ooh, maybe I will listen to those on the next one, because she is doing a wonderful job with Moiraine. No, you cannot. The show is doing a really great job. I would, yeah. I'm not a person who is wanting to hate on the show for not being an exact replication of the books. And there'd be a small percentage of people in the world who've read the books who have read them more than I have. I am a tragic. That's the dragon reborn on my chest, in case you didn't know that. Yep. Yep. I've got yeah, I've just got so many memories of that book series growing up, and you know how it felt when a new book was released, and just like the level of excitement was hard to explain. "14 books in the series, 15 if you count the prequel, which I don't. it is a monumental series, and it's got some really struggling parts that really are a struggle to get through. And there are people that I know that have given up on the series, and they're just like, I can't do it, mate. It's just some fucking trash in there. And I'm like, you know what? I understand. I get it. That's a good stat, Sebastian. That is an excellent stat. I tried to start Critical Role actually once, um, back just sort of around COVID time. My friend Koki and I we got into a D&D game. We were playing online. It was awesome, and he was like, "Yeah, Critical Role. You should get into it." So I listened to a bit of Critical Role, and I was like, "This is the best." And I think I got up to episode 9 because it's all still on YouTube. You can go watch it. So I think I got up to episode 9, and I loved it. And then I looked up and it's like 120, 120 episodes. So yeah, I really struggle with time for reading, but because I'm in the car for work so much, audio books and listening to stuff how I sort of read now or watch content. Go, Jared. Thank you, mate. Two brings a man to his knees. Hey, the hills of Tenchigo. The hills of Tenchigo. Hey. Ah, well, Jared, bit of burnout, mate. I feel like you're about 4 or 5 years behind where I am in my journey. Pretty soon you'll start to become a bad painter, like I have. Uh, no, my advice to you, mate, is just be kind to yourself. It's okay. Painting's still fun. Painting will still be there when you come back to it. I promise. All right, let's just do some bold white vest color shirt thing. Let's just do You can grow your hair out, mate. You can look like me. Oh, Cragzog. You're a funny guy, Sully. That's why I kill you last. I'll give you a couple of definite pieces of advice that I would give. The order that I did them in was absolutely bang on. That guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Just do it. You have to do it that way. Like this guy is so hard to get into. The amount of overspray and paint that I put on other dudes in doing that guy. Yeah, so you have to do it in that order. You don't have to, but please yourself. But it has been easy to paint. Yeah, it's just been a dream. Like it's a Spira. I wish I could. I wish I could paint everything else as much as easily as I paint Spiras. Yeah, I just got a bit of matte varnish in my mouth there. Yeah, I just find his way of subtly hinting at textures just works for me. You know, he leaves enough up to the painter's imagination. He doesn't overcomplicate the detail. I got the orc, yeah. Thanks to Topulus, who came in at the last minute and said, "Oh, you getting the orc dinner?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about it, man. I like it. It's pretty good." And he's like, "You know, it closes in 40 minutes, right?" And I said, "Fuck, better go buy it then." And that is a true event that happened on stream that you can go back and watch. Number one spear sculpt of all time, jeepers. I have a hard time going past the one that I bought first, which is the Elf Rider. But I think the number one sculpt of all time is the Three Witches. Three Witches is not just the best Spearer, I think it's one of the best sculpts ever done in the figure world. Mate, incredible sculpts. The Elf Rider was that was the first Spearer that I bought, and it was a model that I painted a long time ago, and I was in love with the sculpt, and it was one of those moments where my skill was nowhere near the quality that it needed to be for painting of that figure. It was just a long way off. I will quite comfortably go on record and say that it was a bad paint job that I did. I did some cool things with it, but it was basically just a bad paint job by me. So, yeah. What do we go with for that? Maybe could just do this. That could work. I did love Angry Bird, yeah. I wish I bought Goblin King. I tell you what, Spearers are one of the only things where it's never a bad thing to just buy one, even if you don't like it. There's a number that I didn't buy that I go back and regret that I didn't buy them. But there's the number that I haven't regretted not getting is less than the number that I have regretted. So. I did Wise Woman, yep, she was nice. I forget how many Spearers I've painted. It's a lot. I didn't get Hey Plank, I didn't get the Gnome Lady. Do I regret that? Is that a regret that I have? The only Spearers that I tend to not get, that I tend to be okay with, are the ones that are a little bit too nice. Thank you, Stitchy Twitch. You know, the one going back to school with the little gnome dad. I sort of tossed and turned on that one, and then I ended up not getting it, and I don't regret that. The mum and gnome with the owl, maybe I regret that one, but all the ones that are all the ones that are stuff that's fantasy archetypes that's just got his spin on it, I've gotten pretty much all of them and loved them. I didn't get Goblin King, and I do regret that. I think that would have been fun. Jared's version of that was nice and made me jealous. The hills of Tanchico, the hills of Tanchico, hey. Yes, it has proved to be expensive when I have not gotten them, and later decided, you know what, I actually want that. That has proved a little difficult. Coming up on 2 hours, friends, so we will be making a move. And as I said at the very top, we'll be making a literal move in a few weeks' time. So we will be, unfortunately, packing up the painting area, and we'll be offline for a few weeks. Won't be this weekend. Won't be next weekend either. So next weekend we'll definitely be back. Maybe into the diorama. Yes, but the move is going to be a challenge. I've been here for 9 years. And I've accumulated a lot of shit. And I now have to move that shit into another place. Thank you, Stitchy Twitch. It's if you want to see something really cool, how about you check this out? 3 times. This is one I did a couple of years ago. Well, I'll show you the others I've done. So look, this has sort of been the thing that I've done over the last few years, is I've done these big crazy dioramas, and haven't yet done one this year, but I have one that's underway, and so we are going to probably get back into that in the not too distant future. My intent was to dive into it after I did this one. But so that one's called Camelot. I also did this one, which is called Hyperborea. Craig's on. And I've done like 10 of them now, so. Yeah, you should go check out my Instagram if you want to see more of the crazy stuff I've done. And you can have this one. This is the most recent one that I finished. Neon Nights. Yes, that is a functional screen. Yeah, it puts pictures of stuff, whatever I wanted on there. I put a picture in there and it'd appear on there. It's pretty cool, actually. I learned how to wire electronics and code screen and solder stuff. It's pretty fun. Yeah, that was cool. I like that. And my latest one that I'm working on, I'm going to have some lights as well. Some flickering flames, and Jared wants me to do an elevator. He wants me to have some skeletons rising up out of the ground. unlikely to do that. Did you not see that? Yeah. Yeah, I used fluorescent paints, and so under a black light, it's stuff, and I also had some invisible ink. So I painted hidden messages in there. So yeah, if you go over, and I had a little black light torch that I put beside it. So if you go around it with a little black light torch, you can find hidden messages and stuff. That was a bit of fun. Yeah, it was exciting. I enjoyed that a lot. Just comes back to what I was saying before, mate. We forget sometimes why we do this is so we have cool stuff, because it's cool and fun, you know. So doing cool stuff, that's what matters. Doing stuff that makes you go wow. Things that make you go mmm. Okay, let's go. Yes, so we are going to finish up shortly, friends. Big day ahead, hopefully. Stuff. I have won some medals at competitions, yes. And yeah, my work tends to do okay at events and stuff. I do enter events on occasion, but as the years have gone on, I've found myself gravitating more towards running events and supporting the community in different ways rather than competing as much. Some of the people in this chat would say that's because they know I'm washed up and that I can't win anymore, and those people would be absolutely correct. No, not really. But yeah, I don't tend to compete an awful lot these days. I just tend to paint my toys and have fun, and there's a few events coming up that I'm looking forward to attending, and I'll enter my works, which is nice. But my feelings about my hobby will not be affected by my results at said events. It will not impact me in the slightest. I truly just do this because I like painting, because I like having a bit of fun with some toys, and you know, my ability to enjoy my hobby is undiminished by my results, which is a nice place to be in. And if someone's like, "Wow, Deno, I love your stuff," I'm like, "Thanks, mate. I appreciate you." And if someone says, "Deno, I hate your stuff," I go, "Thanks, mate. Fuck you." No, I don't. No, it doesn't impact me. And it used to. Not a lot, but it used to. Brit Knee, hello, welcome. Enjoy, Jared. Good to have you back on the real time zone, mate. Stitchy Twitch, there's a lot of magnificent painters out there, mate. I don't know how invested in this sort of scene you are, if this is your first time seeing miniature art like this, or if it's, you know, if you're an old hand at it. But there's a lot of miniature painters out there that are absolutely unbelievable and have been doing this this sort of stuff for a long time, longer than me, and the level of their works far eclipses mine, absolutely, by a country mile. And so those artists, the people I look up to and aspire to be, they are all exceptional and absolutely better than me. Yeah, Eric's been here, Zaba's been here, we've had Kaha, I think we had Masculins once in the chat. We obviously had Natalie, we've had Tui, DC. Yeah. Hey, look, mate, let me be clear. I don't have a problem giving myself a rap. I'm pretty comfortable that I'm a rock solid painter. So we don't have to downplay the fact that I'm good, but there's other people that are better, and that's okay. There's a great Chinese proverb I like, which is, "May all your dreams but one come true." And on the surface, that sounds like an awful thing to wish on someone, right? May all your dreams but one come true. But if all your dreams come true, then you've got nothing to wish for, you've got nothing to hope for, and nothing to aspire to be. Nothing to give your life purpose. And one of my purposes, one of my dreams, is to be as good as those painters. And I'm not there yet, and that's okay. I might be at some point. I might not. But it's a good one, that one. I like it. See you, Dom. Have a great Sunday, mate. That's all it is. That's all it is, friends, is just time. If I did not have to work and I could just spend my days painting models, I'm sure I could be as good as Kirill. Maybe I could be as good as Kirill was 5 years ago. I'll never be as good as Kirill now. You've got to have a perspective of goal setting. Your goal needs to be reflective of what you're capable of and what you're wanting to achieve. And then your goal also needs to be reflective of what you're willing to sacrifice to give it up. I could paint that amount of hours a day if I wanted to, the amount of hours a day that it would require for me to be as good as Kirill. However, I choose to instead spend time with my girlfriend, or watch cool TV, or play cool board games, or go for a run. And that is the that is the thing with setting goals. I did a wonderful article on this, actually, called The Art of Miniature Painting Psychology, or something like that. It's been a while since I read it. And I talk about this. And I use this wonderful example because I used to know this guy. He was a massive dude, like not fat. He was muscle, just absolutely shredded. And I was like, hey, man, how'd you get that big? He's like, oh, I just have a diet that's reflective of this. Oh, thanks, Sebastian. I only eat the right food, and I only, I get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and I go to the gym for a few hours, and then I go home and I eat my breakfast and I eat all this sort of stuff, and it was all stuff. I was like, I can do that. I could get up there and get up in the morning and go to the gym and eat like that. I could. Why don't I? Because I could look like this guy. He was a massive dude. Like, he was a huge dude. He was a unit. And the reason was because I was prioritizing other parts of my life. And the thing that we have to all recognize and acknowledge and accept is that we all have the capability within us to do just about anything we want to. What we don't often have is the ability to sacrifice things to get to that stage. So it's not a matter of what do you want to achieve, it's a matter of what are you willing to sacrifice. And my answer was I was not willing to sacrifice painting toy soldiers and having fun to turn into a shredded behemoth. So I just kept painting my models. And the people like Kirill that we're talking about, the wonderful maestros in the field, I would say that the number one difference that they have had over us is time. They've had an opportunity to spend more time painting figures. And that to me is the thing that separates them from us, me. I'm going to overtake Kirill soon. That's goal setting. That's goal setting, Cragzog. Giving yourself a goal to aim towards, understanding what you need to sacrifice to achieve that goal. That's goal setting. That's the thing that'll kickstart you. And yes, let's not forget that very salient point from Sebastian, Kirill, and Roman Gruber and Kaha are unfortunately from a country that is at war. Alright, I'll finish up. So let's talk what we have left to go on this piece. It's not a lot. We have, I want to tweak these books. Maybe write some stuff on the back of them. I want to add a little bit more value to the staff and just clean up a little bit of the blues there. Maybe just add a little tiny bit more highlight and textural element to this. I need to clean up the strap, and I want to add the cheetah spots to his cloak, and then just a few little tweaks here. I need to add some dark colors and some highlights to the metal there, so it just tweaks a little bit more like metal. I need to highlight this ear a little bit more because it's a little bit too dark right now, and maybe just change up a little bit, make his hair just a little bit darker, a little bit more black rather than grey. The little owl, he's not too bad. I probably just need to bring a little bit more of that back there, and maybe make these eyeballs a little bit more orange rather than yellow. I'll probably do that now actually. I need to do whatever these little fucking things are. I don't even know what they are. I need to do this fabric thing, which is going to be black leather, I think. And then I just need to add a little bit more work into this green cloak, maybe take it up a little bit. And then we're probably pretty close. Probably pretty close. Any observations? Anything you think I need to do, friends? Any area that you think needs some tweaking? Yeah, the one ring plinth is a cool idea. I could strip it and start over. That's a good question, Carvok, and it's a valid one. I don't know that I've got one specific point of light because it's quite a large piece. I've tried to focus on kind of two sources of light, but if we go back out, we're kind of top left. So we're kind of here for the light. So it's right for this guy, it's right for this guy, oh, it's right for him, and it's right for the wizard. This guy's a little bit off because I sort of see him as down at the front, and so he's kind of a little bit more general. But this is the same, this is the same, so it's kind of top left. It's not perfect. This blue, you reckon, a bit more green? I don't hate that suggestion. Yeah, I mean, I could. So one of the things I was contemplating, which I've done multiple times, and it's great, but didn't really want to do it, was a really strong ambient light, and I was going to do red, like they're in the fucking Balrogs lair. I was going to do a big glowy red light, but I've done it to death, so I decided not to. So yeah, this is kind of the shadow side. And then this is kind of the light side. But it's like a complex piece to get right, and I definitely haven't nailed everything. Like, I should probably have more of a highlight here on the dwarf. Maybe. Don't know. A ring reflecting on his face? Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Or in his eyes, maybe. You little Rorschach motherfucker, eh? It is a complicated model. It is a very complicated model. Yeah, that's a good call. The bones need to be a bit darker. Got some grainy overspray there from my airbrushing. That's interesting. Mind you, I don't normally look at things quite this close. He's pretty cool, actually. See you, Crip Shadow. Thanks, mate. We'll see. We'll see. I think. Oh, Brittany, I've probably got better streams to watch if you're interested in that. But you should go check out my YouTube channel. I've got a few things on how to paint stuff. There's a few things that I'm absolutely chuffed with. Like, I feel like this guy's face is absolutely awesome. Thank you. Like, it really's got some old guy tones in it. You know, it really looks like an old guy's face. Looks like his skin is quite sallow and stretched thin, like butter over thinly scraped over bread. And then I'm really happy with his face as well. He sort of looks like a rugged, but in a different way to this guy. You know, he just looks a little bit more like weather beaten. And even this guy I'm starting to come around on, he sort of feels like a different type of face than the others as well. And then this Rorschach, actually I'm pretty happy with all the faces, to be honest. Even this guy, this is a hard one for me, but I feel like it's pretty good. Alright, we'll call it for today, friends, but yeah, I'll be back probably next weekend. I think this will be finished by then, so I may not be back painting this. I may be on some diorama stuff, but yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic day and or week. And yes, next week we should have the absolute green light on the house, and we'll know when we're going to be moving. Thank you all. Have a great week. Peace out.